So welcome to this part of the course. As I've explained previously, this is a optional part of the course. This is not a PHP course, but it will show you how to use regex with your PHP. If you are looking for a full course on PHP, please check the bonus lecture for our suggestions of what the best courses are for you. So firstly, what is PHP? Well, it is a recursive backronym PHP hypertext preprocessor. If you've never heard of what a backronym is, what Google defines a backronym as is that it's an acronym that's formed by a phrase whose initial letters spell out a particular word. So their example is biodiversity serving our nation, or BISON. So BI comes from biodiversity there, and then SON is there. So look at that. You are learning English terms in a regex course. And you thought that this was just a regex course. Well, so PHP can be used in a lot of different things. You can embed it in HTML code. You can use it in web templates, content management systems. Something like WordPress runs on PHP. And there's obviously web frameworks. So we're not going to go fully into PHP, but let's see how we can do it. Firstly, we're going to have to install PHP on our Windows 10 machine to make sure that it actually works. If you need to install it on another machine, like a Linux or a Mac, please check the documentation. So we are going to be installing PHP 7 right now. Depending on when you watch this video, your PHP might be a little bit more advanced than mine. Mine is on 7.4 right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to download this thread safe version, which is the x64, because I'm on a 64-bit machine, and I'm going to download the zip. Let's now open your C drive and make a new folder in here. I'm going to call it PHP 7. Okay, and let's open a second window for the downloads. So inside here we have our downloads folder, and here we have PHP 7. So I'm going to Control A this whole thing and drag it into PHP 7. And if you go into that, you now see all of your files. So we're going to take this PHP ini file here. We're going to right click and just say copy and paste it here, just so that we have a copy of it just in case we stuff this up. We're then going to rename this, and we're going to take away the development part. So it'll just be php.ini. I'm going to say yes. Okay. Now most of the things in this ini file are commented out, so let's right click on it. And I've got Notepad++ installed. If you don't have that and you just push edit, it will open up in your normal Notepad. I'm going to use Notepad++ because it's just easier to read. We're then going to find extension _dir and say find next. And what you'll notice here is that there are semicolons in front of this which are commenting out this, so it doesn't actually run. So we're going to say that, and we take that away, and that is now that. I'm going to save that quickly. If you scroll further down here, you'll find other extensions are also commented out. So depending on what you're planning on doing, you might want to uncomment some of these out. So you might want to curl or GD2. But in this example, we're just going to get PHP up and running. So I'm just going to push save. I'd then like you to open up your control panel, and I'd like you to search to the top here for variable. We're going to be editing the system environment variables. Then we're going to click on environment variables, and you get all of these. Okay? Scroll down over here and you'll see path, and let's push on edit. Now depending on what you have on your machine, you might see more variables than this. This is a fairly new machine, and it hasn't had much stuff installed. So we're going to make a new one, and we're going to say C drive /PHP 7. You can either type it in like that, or you could say browse C drive PHP 7 and push OK, and it will put it in there for you. And let's push OK. And now you might, depending on how your system is set up, you might need to restart your system to see that your PHP is working. Otherwise, you go PHP v. And if you get this, that means that your PHP engine is now running and all is good to go. So a little known feature of PHP is that it actually has a built-in web server. It's not as exciting as an Apache web server, but it is usable. We're going to test this now and see if our PHP file will actually run in a web browser. So firstly, we need to start up the web server. So we say PHP dash uppercase S space localhost colon 80 for port 80. Now if you push enter, that will then start up a development server. The weird thing about this is that this is actually going to start up in this particular location. So under my C drive users, my username, and that there. So I don't really want that. I'd like to actually put it into a different place. So I'm going to Control C that to stop the server. And I'm going to open up Notepad++. And in this, I have made this very simple PHP file, which basically says open HTML, open body, an H1 tag that says my first PHP page, closing that, then some PHP that actually runs that says hello world, and finally closing body in HTML. Now, I've saved this onto my desktop, which is here. So here is the server. Well, here's my command prompt. And I'm now going to say cd desktop to change the directory into the desktop. And if you look underneath here, I have just one file, which is hello.php. Let's now start the server using this command again. So php dash uppercase S localhost colon 80 and push enter. Now, to make sure that your server is still running, please do not close this command prompt. So I'm going to go into localhost / hello.php, which is my file name. And you see it now runs. My first PHP page and hello world is run by PHP. So if I look at the page source, you'll see that there isn't PHP code here anymore. That's just the code has run. And now I know that this web server is now running. And if I now close this, so it's now stopped, the web server is now stopped, and refresh this page again, it will not work. One more time, start it up, refresh this, and it works perfectly. So now we've got a web server running, we've got it being able to execute PHP pages. Let's now use this to test our regex in PHP.